Hey everyone, Maury Curtis Dunbar here. Welcome back to Painted Studio. It's Friday. We're going to do some fun stuff, and I just need to check and get all my screen set up like usual. There I am. Whoops, I closed myself out. That was dumb. Oh, I don't know why I did that. I am not the brightest bulb on the tree today, that's for sure. Let's see, let me go to my videos page. I accidentally closed myself out on my page, so I'm not feeling very proud of myself today. And it will eventually show up here on my other page of stuff. I mean, I don't know. It'll get there. Let me try one more time. See if it'll show up. Well, we're going to go live anyway, and I'm going to ignore the fact that I can't see what anybody's saying for the moment. We are going to do a combination of things. We've been foiling wine cups and epoxying them and having great times doing that, but we're going to include some transfers and to create different feelings with our cups. We're going to go some that are a little more rustic, some that are more floral. We're going to have some fun with it today. So again, I'm just going to keep trying, see if I can find myself on watch. One more second to try this because I'm not very smart. I don't know how I shut myself out of my live, but I did. So that means I'm not going to be able to answer questions. So feel free to, if you have questions, feel free to post them in the comments. It just means I can't see them at the moment. So we're going to use a bunch of wine cups, and I'm going to angle this down because fortunately I can see the angle of my camera here. There we go. A little higher. Okay, so we have several cups set up with set coat. These have all been cleaned, lightly sanded, and then wiped down with denatured alcohol to remove any greasy surface on here, and to scuff the surface to grab it a little better, we did a single coat of set coat black on the two here on the end. We used set coat metallic light green here, and then there's the custom pink that you often see me use on all kinds of stuff. So we're going to play with a bunch of different foils, and then once we do that, we're going to put transfers over them and seal them up so that they are ready to be put with epoxy tomorrow. Don't forget, our special of the month is epoxy. So all of our 2-part epoxy resins are 20% off with the code AUG20, AUG20 at checkout, 20% off our epoxy resins, and that is a very good thing. Okay, so now I'm going to come here. The first one we're going to do, we're going to use our terracotta foil. Now, it looks super shiny here when we open it up, but it's actually very matte on the surface when we use it. Please tell me I was smart enough and put a pair of scissors next to me. Of course I'm not. That would have been too easy. Grab a pair of scissors. I always think I have everything all set. I sit here, I look around, I've got everything, and then I'm missing one thing. So this terracotta foil is really beautiful. It's a V-mask foil, which means it is great on hard surfaces. It has easy release, but it is not fabric friendly. We have applied a coat of set coat on here. We have applied our Artsyville foil adhesive. It has been sitting up now for about 2.5 hours, so we are ready to go. Remember, minimum of an hour with Artsyville foil adhesive. Now, I'm going to roll this so I get the top part just right. And that because I know this little curve down here, we're going to have some crinkles and stuff to deal with. So I want the top part as easy as possible, as smoothed out as possible, and then I'll deal with the bottom. All right, so first I'm going to rub it with my hands. Again, it's tapered so you don't get a smooth roll on things like you do if it was a straight up and down cup, but you get a really beautiful result with this. And now I'm sort of squishing it down the curve of the base. And I know I'm going to have to come back in and fill in stuff just a little bit. do this, come back that way, and we're going to use our scrubber. Now, when you see white bubbles like this show up, that's actually a good thing. What it means is that the foil has transferred to the surface and is coming, the transfer film is coming back up nice and clean without any foil attached to it. So when I can, I like to take advantage of those bubbles and help them spread, because that means I'm going to get a nice transfer right here. It happens on all foils, but certain backing films make it easier to see than others, and usually V-Mask is much easier to see it on. Now, it doesn't say V-Mask when you go on our website, so if you're not sure which is a V-Mask film, send us a message and we will happily tell you. Not V-Mask film, V-Mask foil. Oh, it's Friday. I'm losing my words. I'm also going on vacation next week, so a much needed vacation. Hopefully when I come back, I'll be able to say words right. So let me see if I can find myself. Usually I can get myself posted on Facebook and I can find my videos. That doesn't seem to be something that's happening today. I'm going to keep trying though. Keep going over, maybe if I go over my videos, I'll find myself. I was hoping to find myself on the watch section of Painted, but I don't pop up there right now either. Alright, so I'm scrubbing vertically, and then I'm going to scrub horizontally. I don't scrub in circles because there's always the chance that you could leave that circular pattern behind, and that's not very pretty. I love using my fingers to smooth this down and see if I can get that bubble thing to move along. Here and do this. Flung that brush across the way. I am just aggressive with it today. Alright, let's see how we come back with how our release is. Look how cool that is. I love this. It comes out very matte. Now I have a few exposed spots, so I'm going to come back with a little more foil here. And give it a little scrub. Fill in any exposed spots that I'm not happy with, and of course I have to deal with the bottom, so I'm going to put it down because I put foil adhesive on the bottom. I'm going to scrub the bottom well, and you see how nice my release is there, and then I'll come back around with my brush to get any of the edges. And let's see if I get a little bit there released. Now the V-Masks foils are really, really nice and easy release. And if I didn't say it before, I'll remind you again that foil has a pretty side where you see the pattern and a not so pretty side where it's just blank like this, and the not so pretty side always goes to the adhesive because the pattern is mounted on the back of the carrier film, not the front. I know it's a little counterintuitive. You think you should lay this part down, but that's not how it works. Think of temporary tattoos where you lay it down and then you peel up the carrier paper and it leaves behind the tattoo on your arm. I remember those from my Cracker Jack box candy days. I don't even know if they make box Cracker Jacks anymore. If they do, they're in like vintage candy stores. They're made in very limited batches. Alright, so I'm just kind of going over this to make sure I've got it filled in. And look how cool this is. Now this is very flat when you release it like this, which is gorgeous. And if I didn't need to put epoxy over it, I'd leave it alone like that. But we're going to do a transfer over this. And I thought for these it would be fun to use our insect transfers. And I got a couple different ones to work with. Obviously, I've used some of these before. I think for this one, I actually kind of like the idea of the grasshopper. The butterflies are a little too big, and so are the dragonflies. And I think I'm going to put a bumblebee on a different one. So we're going to take the grasshopper here. And this is another one where you place it face down. Unlike the foils where you place the pretty side up, the transfers, you place the pretty side down. And then you start rubbing. So I'm going to start with my scrub brush, even though that's not going to be quite enough. I have a little stick that I'm going to use to help burnish it down. I hope this is going to work today. Some days things work really well, some days they don't. So I'm going to, yeah, there we go. I needed something a little harder. And you can kind of see that the pattern starts to disappear on the mounting paper. And I have to hold this down snugly because I'm on a round surface. This is not laying flat, so I have to do this bit by bit to get it all transferred well, and then shift my hand a little bit because otherwise the pattern might break. And I don't want that to happen. That would kind of kill the point of what I was doing. Here, as you can, like I said, you can see right here that all of the pattern is starting to lighten up. I'm going to do a little zoom in so you can see it a little better. Okay, so right here, this is still pattern. Right here is where I have rubbed it off onto the surface. If you've never done transfers before, they're very easy, but round surfaces can be a little challenging. Now we are open right now, and this would be a bad moment for somebody to come in. I would literally not be able to stop, because if I let this go, I'm going to lose half of my transfer. Let's make sure we get those little legs down there. I thought this was just kind of fun and rustic looking over the terracotta. I thought it'd have a nice kind of southwestern look. Now, not everybody loves crickets, I get that. Not everybody loves grasshoppers. And this is actually grasshopper, it's not a cricket. But I thought this would be kind of a fun, different kind of way to use a transfer on a surface. And we're going to use some flowers and stuff later as well. But the first one we're going to do, yeah, that one's going to be a bug. And I don't like bugs in real life, but I love bug imagery, especially the black and white like we have here, which will actually be clear, translucent and black. I love that sort of ink style. I hope I didn't move that too much. And I check my pattern. Yeah, I should be okay. My hand slipped, so I hope I didn't dislodge the antenna. Okay. So here we go. Here is our cricket on here, or a grasshopper on here. I really, really like it. It transferred very easily. I have one little break right here. But you know, the thing is, with the background texture and this being in black, it makes it look kind of vintage. So I'm okay with that break. So let's take another one, and we're going to use a brand new foil with this right now. Okay, I'm going to give it another shot to see, because I closed my iPad by mistake. So we're going to see if oh, yes, I am live, and now I've found myself. I'm so excited. I know that's silly for you all, but I get excited because I found myself. So we've done our grasshopper. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to use neon pink foil over our neon pink our regular pink background. Now, I haven't used the neons yet. They are somewhat translucent, so I picked pink as a background. They would probably look very cool on black as well. I don't know. I haven't tried that yet. But I am loving the neon pink. And you all know I am a pink girl from way back. So let's do this. Let's put this on. I'm going to roll my cup. Let's see if I can roll this a little more smoothly than I rolled it last time. It's a little better, a little smooth. Again, these angled cups, they make it a little bit challenging to roll out smoothly. And I'm going to have a whole bunch of touch-up to do right there because I peeled stuff off. So let's give this a good scrub. Okay, and I can already see right there, that's a touch-up spot for me. And right there too. Now I hope my everything was cured enough and I didn't actually pull off down to the metal. I have done that on hot, humid days like today. It can happen. So let's hope I didn't do that. We're gonna find out. But if I did that, what that means is I will touch this up, put some more foil, put some more paint, put some more foil adhesive, and work that out later. Look how cool that looks. That is pretty darn cool. No, I didn't take it down at all to the stainless steel. It's just a tonal difference between the two paints because I think I'm going to have no problem getting it grabbing there. See? Grabbed right up there. It's just the other paint looked a little tiny bit gray under it, I guess. And so we're just going to touch up any spot that looked like it went to the metal because clearly it didn't, otherwise the foil would not stick to it. But this is very uneven, very streaky, which I knew it would probably be. I'm absolutely fine with that. I think it looks kind of cool because we're going to put transfers with flowers over this. Get the bottom script. I'm going to open this window up again because now I keep coming out of the window so you can't see what I'm doing. I pull things close to me and then you all can't see what's happening if I'm not paying attention. So let's come here and do that. And all I'm doing is just filling in some of the little patches where it didn't grab. But this is neon pink over light pink paint that I created. It's close enough that it works well. But I think if you did this over black, it might really be bold looking as opposed to just pink looking. I am a genius and I almost foiled the wrong cup with this. Let's get in here with my fingers, make sure I didn't miss anything. All right, so I'm going to put that piece over to the side and we're going to do this with flowers. Now, I'm just thinking here. We'll see what I get when I open this up. I used up an entire other one of these. Now these are our transfers. We carry them. You can buy them from us. They are available at paintedstudio.com. So do not hesitate to look at transfers from us. Now I want to see what exactly I want to put on here. And most transfers packets come with 1 or 2 sheets in it. Some of them come with more. This one actually is a single one because it's designed to go and be cut apart for embellishments like I'm about to do right now. So I want to see what I want to put on here. I don't want to put a whole lot of really big stuff. That would be not great size. So I'm going to cut this piece. I'm going to take a little rose. I'm going to take a couple little flowers. I want to just kind of create a little bouquet on the cup. I don't want to cover it because otherwise what's the point of having the neon on there? Take that. And let's see. Let me come up over here. I don't want any of the writing on it. We have all kinds of things like the Duchess Darlings on here and things like that. That's not what I want. I want a bunch of little flowers, little blooms, so I'm going to cut around things pretty carefully so I don't waste what I don't want. I will take this stem off of this flower though, because I like that. And I will take this other flower that's right in here. I think that's I am not a botanist, so I'm trying to decide if that, I think this is a apple blossom or a cherry blossom or even a dogwood. It's too few petals to be something like Rose of Sharon. So we're going to do that. Let me cut out a few more here. And we're going to take these transfers and apply them to our neon pink cup. And my friend Miguel just came in, so he's here working on things. He may take some pictures of what I'm doing so that we have them in single post and not just me jabbering away on the camera. Alrighty. Let me get in here. I think we'll start with this. If it's not enough, I'll come back and cut more out. But because it's a cup, I don't need a lot of big shapes. Alrighty, these two get cut apart. So the best way to kind of arrange these is you have to pay attention to the fact that you have bigger and smaller, taller and shorter blooms to work with. So I usually start by putting in the tallest ones first, and I do go down to the base of the cup, down here like this. And again, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. I go down to the base, and then I take my stick. And by the way, when you get the transfers from us, it comes with its own tongue depressor, usually a little thicker than the one I'm working with now. But I always have tongue depressors floating around the studio. Now these don't show that transfer quite as clearly as the bug ones do. Those were mounted on a different type of paper. So what you do is you give them a scrub, and then you can start to see them coming up. There's a little white bubble again that starts to show, so you know you're transferring well. And you keep rubbing it until it stays stuck to the surface, and then it will eventually carefully peel off. Again, get the little bubble, and part of what's happening here is because I'm working on this curved surface. As soon as I let go, I can sometimes see what's transferred because the plastic backing film kind of wants to pop up. So we're going to go here, give it a good scrub here, and I'm going to slowly lift to see if it's all coming off. Not all of it is, so I got to come back here. Give a little more scrub. This is, be patient with this. Don't rush it. You're never going to be happy if you rush. Don't just suddenly rip it off. Come back, work it, roll it back slowly to see if you've got it adhered. See, I got one spot here. It just doesn't want to quite grab. All right, see, now we're getting it. Now it's starting to come and stick. And again, like I do with other things, I'm rolling it back completely parallel to the surface because that doesn't add tension, and I can get it on there and smooth it out and not have pulled it straight up. And trust me, I've done the pull straight up thing and it makes a mess of everything. All right, so we're going to take another one. We're going to use this little flower on here. I'm going to take that piece of backing paper that I cut with it off. I'm going to again mount it down here. And again, I said we're going to make like a little bouquet out of this. So the tall ones go on first, and then the mediums get mounted in the middle, and then the small ones come around the edge. And we are being on hold. Sorry, you know, we have issues sometimes with our video freezing up, so be patient. If we freeze up a little bit or go black, we're still here. Just wait a second for the camera to clear. It's the joys of technology, all this stuff that's supposed to make our life so much easier actually just is a pain in the behind. Be impressed that I'm not using stronger language because that's what wants to come out of my mouth. Okay, I'm shifting that little air pocket, that little bubble around on here to help release. I think the only place that we seem to have a little bit of a grab problem is right there. Okay, so I'm going to pull it up carefully, carefully, carefully. I'm rolling it back. Let's see if it comes. There we go. Yes, it is grabbing. It just didn't want to completely let go. And there we go. We have our blooms on there. And I think I have one other that needs to be put right there. It's closer to the same height as the rose, so I'm going to put it on this side of the tall one. If I'd really planned it out, I would have put these two on first and put the cream blooms in the center, but you know, I kind of wing things a little bit. So let's get rubbing this on down. I rarely use transfers just as they are straight off the sheet. I tend to like to cut them apart and place them in interesting arrangements. If you all look back onto our page, you can see the deer filing cabinet that I did. That was I never took them on their own. I laid them, I cut them apart, laid them around, just made sure everything was pieced so that when I pulled it up, opened the drawers, that the drawers all made sense, like everything was connected correctly. And so this is what I like to do with transfers. I like to piece them together. I like to use them in a little more than their original planned pattern. I think that makes your work, makes your pieces more interesting that way.
Can you have like one of you will hold it real quick and smile?
Okay, I'm being asked to hold a cup and smile.
Thank you.
So, here we go. That's what happens when we're doing a bunch of different things at once. You might see Miguel asked me to do something that makes absolutely no sense for a live. But that's what we're doing. Multitasking, that's it. Multitasking. All right, so see, that all came off nicely. And so I think what needs to go in here, let's take a look at what we have left. We have this, we have this, we have this, and we have this. So I think, so that I don't have a repeat of two rosebuds here, I'm going to take this one and put it here. And then I'll put the other rosebud over there. And then we'll trail off with the two smaller ones at the end. I want to put that a little bit lower. Now the cool thing with the transfers is too, if you have a spot that you don't like, put a transfer over it. If you got a funny, irritating spot, you don't like that, put a transfer over it. Now I'm just doing the bouquet on this. I may come back tomorrow. I might pick out a few more of these little flowers and sort of put them in a daisy chain, drift across here to complete the cup look, because right now it's just going to all be one pattern in one spot, and that won't make me happy. But I'm going to hold back on doing that until maybe tomorrow, because we got 4 cups to do, 4 different patterns, 4 different ideas. So some of these are going to be very florally feminine. Some of them are going to be more earthy, perhaps masculine in description, although I don't like those descriptions because I think men love flowers and ladies can enjoy rustic. So, okay, so we can see we have our flowers building up here. That's very cute. I like this. Okay, the rose is going to come down in here, the big rosebud. Center that right there. You don't often see me using transfers because I'm always so busy painting things, but I thought today would be a fun day to do transfers, and especially since we're going to seal these up with our product of the month, the 2-part epoxy, we should definitely have something different on the live today. Okay, keep going. Now, we used to do stuff like these transfers when I was a little kid. I used to get coloring books and stuff that had these in. They were almost like sticker books. But I remember having them, and I don't know, my parents may have brought them from home from vacations or stuff, because they weren't like stuff we found at the local toy store. But I do remember we had stuff like this when I was a kid. Right, rolling it back, trying to make sure every little bit comes off. There we go, came away nice and clean. So again, we're building up sort of that wildflowery garden thing here. I'm going to take this blue one and bring it in over here, because everything over here is very pink, so I want to change my color palette right there. I don't want it to look all pink on one side and every other color on the other one. I want to vary it, make it more visually interesting that way. There we go. You can see it's transferring really nicely. Oops, and it just popped right off and transferred beautifully. Make sure there's no little bits of funkiness on there. And then here we're going to take the rose. Let me take a look at it this way, see if I want the rose here. Yeah, we're going to put the rose here, but we're going to put it a little bit of an angle just to fill in that big gap that's right there. There we go, it's starting to transfer. I can see where we're starting to get the lift showing, that little bubble effect I keep talking about. Now this is a smaller one, so it's not going to happen quite so dramatically. Stuff still stuck. And let's see if I can smooth things around to make them come back. off here really nice and easily, like we did with the blue one. Yeah, that's happening. There we go. I got that little spot right there to get. And it just came right up while I slid my finger under it. So now we have our little flower garden. And like I said, because this is neon pink, and it's really empty back here, I'll probably grab a couple more of the little blue flowers and do a little drift of them across. But for now, that's a happy thing. Let's grab another cup. We've got this one, oops, a little piece of fuzz stuck to it. This is done in Set Coat Light Green. And we're going to use our Celadon foil over it. We're going to go solids. Now, usually I do some sort of pattern, but between the neon pink and the Celadon, I thought these would be pretty cool together. I like that. Hi, Jill and Diane and Denise and Desiree. Thanks for popping in. Nice to see you here. All right, so the Celadon green, I'm cutting it. Again, I'm zoomed in right now, so if you want me to back out, but I think the zoom in, it helps you see better what the transfer looks like, because the transfers are never completely perfect. Again, we're putting the not so pretty side to the adhesive. I'm going to roll this to get it as smooth as I can. I love this green. It's so pretty. Okay, and I'm going to first start by rubbing with my fingers. Now this foil happens to be on a slightly thinner mounting film than the V-Mask or the neon pink, which makes my using my hands on it and folding it a little bit at the base a lot simpler. Where's my little brush? Here we go. This is a fabric-friendly foil, so you can definitely use it on clothing if you like it. And I can see we're going to have a nice release with this. I can see it already grabbing into our foil adhesive really, really well. And I might have a little seam back here. I try hard not to have the seams happen, but they do. On the cups, that's the hardest thing to avoid. So sometimes I work to put a little pattern over it so that you don't see the seam quite so much. Okay, so let's peel this off. Look at how beautiful that release is on there. That Celadon green is gorgeous. I have a little touch up to do right there. I can see where some foil is exposed. Fills in very nicely. Let's get the bottom done. And then I'm going to fold any of the extra bits over the edge just to make sure, because down at that base, that's where it folds and crinkles, so that's where we can have issues, not having enough foil on stuff. So again, make sure you're going up and down and side to side. Don't go in circles except right in here, because that's how you applied the foil adhesive. All right, that is really nice. Let me take a quick look around, see if there's any big breaks. Yeah, there's a couple right in here that I want to finish up. And then we're going to get some transfers to put on here too. Now, another fun thing to do is if you have breaks in the foil, which you always do, you can foil over this again with a second color, and it will deposit a different color on here than you started with, and that would add a nice little bit of visual texture. There we go. All right. Now, this transfer that we're going to use, I have no idea what's in here, because I have no idea what's left from the last time I used it. This one is called our In Flight. It has bird feathers and some flowers and all kinds of stuff in here. And honestly, I haven't used this one in a while, so I'm not sure what's left. I might have used up a lot of the stuff. I think I used all the feathers. Okay, so what I have here is a few of these patches. like this. I think I'll use the green one on here, and then I'm going to use the flowers over it. But the flowers, if you look at them, they're not standard flower prints. They are basically like a pattern stenciled through a flower stencil. So you've got a lot of visual interest on those. They're kind of nice and weedy looking. I like that very much. So first thing we're going to do is cut this. Now, why am I cutting the backing paper as well? Because I want to make sure the backing paper stays on the bits and pieces I don't use. It helps protect them so that when I put them back in the tube, they're still safe and still usable. It is just the smartest way to handle these. Now, I think, because this film is so stiff and this is very, very square, I'm going to put this up here near the top instead of near the bottom, because I will otherwise be battling the curve of the cup. So let's get this on here. It's sticking nicely. It's already wow, it's already starting to release really well just with my hand. Okay, let's keep rubbing. And let me find my little rubbing stick, because now things are getting messy here. I'm starting to throw things around me. Okay, stick my hand in the cup. Let's come back here and scrub this way. And then let's come back and scrub the other way. I want this whole thing on here. I don't want it broken. I don't want to miss any of it. So making sure I transfer it really well. And my fingers are doing as much of the work as my scrubbing stick is. Let's see how we're doing here. All right, now I can probably slide my fingers under here and have the whole rest of it transfer without. So look how nicely that went on there. That's very, very pretty. It works with the pattern, or the color. And we're gonna take some of our flowers. They're kind of like wildflowers, a little weedy. And I'm just gonna cut them straight across because clearly they are too big to go on this cup by itself, for the full size by itself. So again, we're gonna start arranging things. And see, this makes a nice panel here, so if I needed to put a name on it, or if I needed to say happy birthday on here or something like that, there is a clear spot that is delineated that makes that really, really easy. And if you're a vodka drinker, you could have it say vodka there. If you want it, you're a wine drinker, have it say wine or scotch or whatever, you know, whatever it is that your beverage of choice is. As far as I'm concerned, you could put milk on there. Whatever makes you happy. All right, so let's keep those. Let's throw this extra stuff to the side. If you guys could just see how messy a table gets around me in about 5 minutes time, because I'm working in a real small space here that you're seeing on camera, and the entire rest of the table looks like the studio exploded. All right, so we're gonna take this and I'm gonna put it at a slight angle so it frames this side really nicely. Okay, and this one is called In Flight. Our other pattern that we were using is I think it's Garden Roses. Then there's the insect packet. So all of these are available on paintedstudio.com. We have them all in stock. Oh yeah, that came out nicely. Now the one thing you will notice with transfers, especially on a shiny surface, that there's often a little, excuse me, a little halo around them. That is the transfer material. You can't change that, you can't take it off. It's part of it. So you can work with it or you can fight it. I usually just try to work with it. Now I'm going to take this one and bring this over here the same way. bit on there, so yeah, we're just going to put that there. I need to make sure, I'd rather have it at a slightly different angle than I'd planned for than ruin the transfer. So I just laid it back down where it accidentally stuck a little bit. Now these are letting go really, really easily. As you can just saw, they just kind of went flying off of here. And I'm folding them under here, but if you don't like that, you can come in with an X-Acto knife and trim it down. I'm just going in with my fingernail to get it into the ridge around the base. All right, let's see which ones we've got next. And I got this one that kind of leans. Which one do I want here? I want that one. They both have that wide opening on this side, which makes me want to constantly put it here. But I think I will put this one on this side, and then I'll put the other on the other side. Again, I'm going up over the lip now. That one will have to be trimmed right there because you don't want it into your drinking area. It's not food safe, and so it just will get trimmed off. But it fits here really nicely. Looks nice and wildflowery and weedy right here. I really like that. So let's see, get this up. I think we can lift here and start gently. Sometimes I roll it back, sometimes I can just slide my finger under here, but you need to make sure it's well adhered. Otherwise, you're just gonna tear it. Okay, and as you can see, I've got this little tiny bit sticking off. It's just a thin film, so I can go with a scissor, trim it right off. We're all done. Okay, there's that one, that one, that one, and I think I just dropped one on the floor. I did. 2 left. And I can put this one here, or I can do this one, and I think I'm going to do this one on this side, because then it'll match the other side. It'll balance it out. Get the piece of transfer off my finger. I may cut, and then I can put this one right in here, and it looks like I have natural wildflowers growing all around this cup, which is going to be very nice. And if I needed to, there's a little bit more that I can cut off and kind of meld the whole thing together if it looks a little too sparse. Now, I know some people use transfers constantly. I love them. I just don't use them as much because usually what I'm doing is custom designing stuff. So that's why even when I'm using my transfers, I am custom designing with my transfers. You're not going to find me using them straight off the roll the way they're printed. There's nothing wrong with doing that. I just prefer to kind of go at them a little differently. Come on, let's make sure that's stuck on there. All else fails, there's always a fingernail. Okay, again, I've got this little bit that needs to be trimmed off the top. And we're going to stick this one right in the middle in the back, and actually that just came out. The balance of that's really, really nice. Now, you're going to look at this and you're going to say, this is not quite square. You know what? That's not hard to fix. I can easily paint a square. I can cut a square in vinyl on my Cricut cutter. I can do a lot of things to tidy that up. It actually wasn't perfectly rectangular when I cut it off of here. The pieces are irregular, and sometimes that shows more in some applications than others. Here, yeah, it shows. Okay, let's get that down here, right down the center here. Let's see what I got. Oh, these are transferring really well. I like this. I like this very, very much. Let's not pull that up that way. I don't want to put that tension on there. I think this is very much like a country girl kind of wine cup. I think that's really sweet looking. And again, in here I can put some lettering that would say whatever I want it to say. As a matter of fact, since I'm not going to finish these up tonight, you all can tell me what it should say. Put it in the comments. Give me some ideas. We'll cut it on the Cricut tomorrow. It'll go on there. Then we'll seal these up and put epoxy over them. All right, I have to move some stuff out of the way because I'm starting to run out of room. Here is our last cup. Again, this one has got Set Coat Black on it. We are going to use, which one is this? Stonewashed Gold. This is another V-mask foil. A little more rustic in its look. This is not a fabric-friendly foil, but oh, it's so pretty on. So pretty. And trait of V-mask is that it likes to roll back on itself like really tight, so it can be challenging. Let's hope I can get this on here. And yes, I have a little tiny bit of the pink neon on here. Let's see if I can get this to roll on without being too problematic. See, it wants to roll back instead of roll on. Go. But it grabs, we're good, it's on here. Again, first of all, we use my fingers to smooth it across the surface. See if I can get any of those little air pockets like this. Always shows me that the foil is releasing. In here makes it a little more stable. Alrighty, let's peel her back. And you can see there are, the black is showing through where the foil cracked or crinkled. Didn't crack, it crinkled. Now, I can leave it like that because that's kind of cool. But let me finish the bottom up first. So what happens when I don't get my fingers in there? I don't get it quite as opaquely covered. I think I'm actually going to leave it with these black cracks on here because it looks really cool that way. I really like that. All right, and we are going to go back to our bugs. Now, what I have left, see, something like the dragonfly could be really nice. I think it would wrap around completely. So let's try the dragonfly on here. I don't really want to do butterflies. I'm not in a butterfly or bee mood. Let's give a shot with the dragonfly. And let's say a little prayer for me because we all know that this does not stick down the way those other transfers do. I have to work it differently. So let's first get me lined up on here. Okay. And then I'm going to hold it carefully. And we're going to, I want to make sure I'm on camera. You can actually see what I'm doing. Okay, I'm holding it a little closer to myself than normally because I have to be able to see it. So I just want to make sure it's on camera so you can see what I'm doing. So this is starting to fade out right here. That means it's transferring to the surface. And again, this is not the plastic like the other ones where it was much more of a sticker and it just sort of popped off. This one, I've got to work it. I've got to scrub every little detail on it to get it on here, and I don't want to lift it until I know I've got all the details applied. And I cannot just slide my stick under here now that I have this part applied. That doesn't work with these. It's not as plasticky, it's not as stickery. Stickery? Is that a word? Well, it is today. It's not as sticker-like as the other floral transfers. This is much closer to an ink transfer. Okay, let's roll this carefully. Keep holding it down tightly. I'm going to do the tail maybe last because I have to hold it that way. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just going to work it as I go along. Ooh, my hand's cramping a little because I'm holding it so tight, trying to keep it from slipping. I think if I may just work the tail down like that. I know my fingers are in the way. I'm sorry, but this is how I have to do it to get all of it applied. Because I don't want the tail to look broken. Once I lift this one up, it's done. It's not like the other ones. I can't just slide my little stick under there and transfer pieces. Whew. This one requires a little pressure, a little labor. I gotta give my hand a break for a second. Whew. I've been scrubbing transfers, and it puts a lot of pressure on the knuckles here. The other ones weren't hard scrubbing, but these bug ones you have to really be patient with, and they require a little more labor. They're absolutely worth it. Let's try scrubbing in a slightly different way just to change the pressure on my hand. That's actually working all right. Take the side of the stick. We're going to do this any way we can just to transfer it. Okay, I'm going to roll this way just so I'm getting it at a better angle. Every little bit off of here. Alright, I think we're pretty good. Let me check the tail right here. It looked like there was a little bit that I'd left behind. And then there's the tip of the wing here that needs a little more attention. Alright. Look how awesome that looks on this gold, this stone washed gold with the crackle surface. Darn, that is sharp. Sharp. I am really, as much as I like this, the grasshopper, I'm really crazy about the dragonfly here like this. All right. I think we're going to call it a day. Let me open the screen back up and we'll say goodbye to you. Check for questions. Give me just a second to adjust the camera. So I know you're seeing me. There we go. All right. Let me check your questions. Hey, Desiree, nice to see you. Okay, let me go look and see if there's any questions. You guys seem to understand this transfer thing really well. And my camera slid down just a little. Sorry about that. so I don't have to explain it to you. But so far, we have had our dragonfly on a cracked stonewashed gold background because I did not fill in where the foil crinkled up over the size. I think that looks really nice. We've got our nature kind of cowboyish looking, cowgirl looking one. I will come up with something in here. You guys need to put something in the comments. Tell me what you think this should say in here. We have our neon garden going. I will, again, like I said, I'll probably put a little drift more flowers here because it just is one arrangement right here in the front. I think that looks just a little blah that way. And we have our giant grasshopper on here. I think, you know, drink a grasshopper in your grasshopper cup. That could be very fun. Tomorrow we will finish these up. They will be put with the epoxy and we will go from there. All right, everybody, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. I hope you all have a wonderful, that's not what I wanted to do. I closed it out. I'm trying to finish up the live, not stick you off in a corner. All right, everybody, we're going to see you next week. I will be here Monday and Tuesday, but after that, I'm on vacation for about 11, 12 days. Hopefully, it's only 11 or 12 days and I don't get stuck in an airport somewhere with all the way things are going right now. But I will be seeing you very soon. Have a wonderful day. Have a terrific weekend, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.